Hi, welcome back or welcome to Brooklyn's Library. Long time, no chat. So today we are going to be going over the past 2 months because I've been a little bit absent, just a little bit, and I would like to come back, but I figured I need to catch you guys up on what I have been up to lately. Today I'm going to be going through the books that I've read, the readathon I participated in, and the movies and the shows that I have been watching. The first book I read, which was in March, was Night Bitch, and I read this for the Horror Hideout. Tell me why I was about to say the Horror Hideout podcast. I read this for the Horror Hideout book club featuring Bestie Maddy and Bestie Meri. I have a weird relationship with this book. Sometimes when I think about it, this lighting. I like the warm lighting better. It does not remind me of school as much. I have a weird relationship with this book because sometimes when I think about it, I like it, and other times I'm like, I don't like it. So it's about this housewife, unnamed housewife. She calls herself the wife and night bitch in the book. She doesn't give herself a name. Anyway, so she's just a regular lady mother. Her husband's always gone, so she's taking care of the kid and running errands, cooking dinner, cleaning, all that BS. And she is starting to feel like she is turning into a dog. What I liked about this book and what I didn't like about this book. So what I liked about this book was how unhinged it was, and how girl, what are you doing? That kind of stuff, which is a usual, that's very much on brand. I didn't like that the husband was there. I didn't like that he was just trash. He did not really participate in anything. In my journal I have that I rated this book 4 stars, so let's just go with that today. The next book that I read, controversial. It's not controversial to the popular opinion, but it's controversial to the besties. Looking Glass Sound. Okay, I do apologize. I read this book 2.5 stars because the trope. I'm not so much a fan of this trope in this book. I don't know. I cannot tell you without saying what the trope is because it really pissed me off. To be honest, what even is this book about? Crickets. How do I say? Wilder is writing a story of his childhood adventures on the Maine coast. When the memory of what happens begins to blur, he's trying to figure out. He doesn't quite remember what's going on or what happened. And then he wonders if someone stole his story to publish it as their own. Is that an accurate description as to what happened? I don't know. As you can tell, I'm struggling to tell you guys what this book is about. Very accurate because what is this book? Anyway, there's what is happening is not really happening in this book. Just know that I was not a fan. I don't know how to describe this book any more than I already did. And then the next book that I read was Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, and I read this for Happy Haunts Library, aka Lauren, aka a girl of booktube, her book club. Okay, Frankenstein, if you don't know, is about Victor Frankenstein, and he is a doctor, and he creates this creature in the name of science or whatever. And then this creature comes alive, and then Victor is that's none of my business, and basically abandons him. And so Victor is telling his story about that, and then things go from there. This is a classic. For me, it was being a classic. It was okay. It was easy to read. I was listening to the audio and reading it at the same time, and that really helped me understand the language more. There were some beautiful quotes in it. Amazing things happen. I love to hear the monster's POV. I love when he went and was watching the family, and then he went up to the little girl and was talking to her and was children are so much less judgmental than adults, because yeah, that's accurate. Oh, okay, period. I rated that book. I didn't rate that book because I didn't know what to rate it. I think I'm going to say 3.5 stars. And then the next book I read was Home Before Dark. And I read this for reading like Bestie Maddy for a week for her birthday vlog. If you want to check that out, you can. Slay, Riley does it again. Me and Riley are besties. I hate to say it. So 25 years ago, Maggie and her parents lived in a creepy house called the Bannerberry Hall. They lived there for about 3 weeks, and then stuff started going down. So they were like, we're out of here. And after they left, Maggie's father wrote a memoir, whatever, about it being haunted, extremely haunted. So he was debunked, and a whole bunch of people are like, man, that man is a liar and he's crazy and we don't believe him. And once Maggie grew up, she's like, yeah, no, like I don't remember anything that happened in that house and he is a liar. And so Maggie finds out that her father, okay, period, still owned that house. And so she inherited it, and against the wishes of her mother, she goes to this house and tries to lie, investigate and lie, face it up a lot, whatever. And so she is starting to question herself. Hold on. Is this house actually haunted? Did my dad actually tell the truth? Or is he a liar? So she's starting to believe his little memoir or whatever. I really enjoyed the ride. Riley, you literally slay, like. And so I read this on audio and I gave it 3.5 stars because it was nothing crazy to me, but I was hooked and I was listening and I was having a good time listening to it. And the book that I read after that was The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein, because while I was reading Frankenstein, I was very interested in knowing what was going on with Elizabeth. What was Elizabeth doing when Frankenstein was doing his thing? We basically just followed her. It was just fine to me. We got the backstory of how Elizabeth was being abused by her parents and then came to live with the Frankensteins, and then her and Victor growing up, and then once he left her, trying to find him to see what he's doing. I also gave this book 3.5 stars, which I feel like I liked Home Before Dark better than I liked The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein and Frankenstein. So my ratings are all over the place. Even though this book was about Elizabeth and she was the narrator or whatever, I felt like I did not get enough Elizabeth. I feel like the whole time we were just talking about Victor this and Victor's this type of person and then Victor is that. And I just did not care. I just want to know, Queen, what are you up to? What are you doing right now? What are you, You can see I'm salty towards Victor and the way that he treated his creature. But I really enjoyed how they wrapped up The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein. And the next book I read, I have no thoughts. Really, I have 2 thoughts about it. It's A Certain Hunger, and I read that for my book club, the Women's Wrong Support Group. If you guys would like to join, there will always be a link in the description. So A Certain Hunger is about a murderous woman who killed men and ate them, and that's a slay in its own self, period. And she was giving very much Hannibal Lecter, but a lady version of Hannibal Lecter. And I feel like I love him, and I just didn't see it, I wanted her to be more unique. This is why I give this book 3 stars, because it was just fine. She would just be talking, and then she would be something extremely out of pocket and intense. What are you saying, girl? Where is the build up to this? The next book that I read was The Neighbor Favor, and I rated this book 4 stars. I read this with the Accidentally Yours book club with myself and Maddy from Maddy Moon's Library. Our romance book club link is also in the description, so if you would like to join, go ahead, don't you? I read this 4 stars, and I don't remember what this is about. So let me show you the spread I made on The Neighbor Favor in the next book. blank. I do apologize. So the two main characters, the girl, she's writing to her favorite author, and then he is writing back via email, and they're just communicating. She's like, oh, your book got me into fantasy, and I work in publishing. And then he's like, oh wow, like I never had like a fan of my books before, and I got the rights back, and I'm like gonna make a part 2, blah, blah, blah. Okay, period. And she's like, oh my god, period. Yes, we love to hear it. It's just so cute. It's like a cute little love story, and I just thought that it was so much fun. This book was everything that Telling Lies Online wanted to be, because Telling Lies Online was extremely toxic, and I feel like though there was lying, I feel like there was not manipulation in this. And that's just March. So April, it's not the end of April, but I'm gonna go ahead and film a wrap up because I don't think I'm reading anything else this month. If we're being honest, today is 4/21. Alice in Wonderland, Alice, Rouge, and Bunny, I read for the Bunny-a-thon hosted by Meri from Books with Avocado and me, bitch. Yeah, that was so much fun. I cannot wait for Meri's readathon. If you guys want to expand your reading and you want to read horror around the world, check out her readathon because I'm so freaking hyped for it. And then I read Natural Beauty, and I have only a little bit of thoughts about that one. Okay, first of all, she slayed with the freaking header. Yeah, okay, wait. Yes, period. Just know she is trying to work to pay off a debt for her family, and there's some extremely weird stuff going on with the place she works for. She works for like a beauty store, like kind of like similar to like Ulta, but it's like a spa called Holistic. I'm not sure if these things exist in real life, but people come in to get procedures done to look young and beautiful. My thoughts, this was fine. I rated it a 3.5 out of 5. Like, I'm stuck. This is why I think I need a little break from reading, because I'm stuck in 3.5 out of 5 ratings. I'm just stuck. And those are all the books that I'm talking about. Now we're going to be talking about what I have been watching, because I know you guys like so badly want to know. I know you want to know. Anyway, so I feel like the first thing that I watched in March was Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I watched this on Discord with the gals. And that was so much fun. We were just like typing our little comments back and forth, making jokes. I like busted out laughing several times. So thank you so much, Maddy and Lauren, for joining me for that. For our Frankenstein era. I've seen that movie a million times, and then of course the songs got stuck in my head for days after I watched it. Let me know your favorite Rocky Horror song. And then I watched Alice in Wonderland from 1951, the animated cartoon. How many times have I watched this? Infinity times, and I will continue to rewatch it. Every time okay, so I watched this as a child, like so much as a child, and then I didn't watch it, I want to say, for like 10 to 12 years. And then I watched it as like a 22-year-old, 23-year-old, and it was like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when I was watching it. I was just up one night, I couldn't sleep, and I was watching Alice in Wonderland. This was when like Disney Plus was like first invented or whatever, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so freaked out. When I was watching it, I was so freaked, and I had to turn it off and finish it a different day. I don't know why I was so freaked out. So this time when I watched it, I just recalled back to like when I was like 22 watching it, and I was like freaked out. A little kids movie that's not scary. I mean, it is kind of scary if you think about it. Yeah, what would I rate this? 5 out of 5. I watched Alice in Wonderland from 2010. Let me tell you about that. I have also seen this movie countless times. I think if I had to put a number to it, this would have probably been like my 9th or 10th time watching it. And that's funny to me because I watch this movie a lot, but it's not like one of my favorite movies. And I don't know why I watch it so much. I think I like the vibes and the wonderlandness of it all. So weird. I don't know what it is about it that I don't really like, and I also don't know what I like. I just like to watch it. Do you guys have any movies or shows or anything that you feel that way about? So then I watched Alice in Wonderland Through the Looking Glass, and this is my second or third time watching Through the Looking Glass. But anyway, either way, these movies give me secondhand embarrassment, but I continue to watch them. This Through the Looking Glass, I definitely have to be in a very specific mood to watch, because I don't know if I really like this one either. It's the aesthetic and the vibes for me, and like Hatter is not hattering in this one, so I don't know. And then I watched Frankenstein from 1931, my enemy. I did not like this movie at all. So sorry. And then the next movie I watched was Sucker Punch from 2011. And yeah, this movie slayed. 4 stars. I feel like since I watched Mike's video before watching Sucker Punch, I understood exactly what was happening and I live. And then the last thing that I'm going to talk about is I watched the first season of Vampire Diaries. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, I thought it was good. I'm interested in knowing what happened. Why does Elena look like Catherine? Like, that's not a spoiler. Like, that happens in like the first episode that you find out that Elena looks like Catherine. Like, I don't know. Like, why? Like, why does she? Like, and I feel like I'm not gonna find that answer for a very long time. And I have some plans, as I mentioned in my Bunny-a-thon vlog. I have a 14-part series that I want to start and a 7-part series that I want to start. So I just set up the layout for my 14-part series, and I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna get to it soon, very, very soon. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening to me talk about whatever I've been up to. And thanks for sticking around. If you guys would like to leave a emoji saying that you made it this far into the video, you guys can leave the coffee emoji, because I need this right now. I will see you guys very soon for another video. And yeah, bye.